Hi, I'm Linda. Glad to have you back. I finished a beautiful ocean scene, moonlight, moonshine. In fact, I'm calling this one Moonshine on the Ocean. It's got some beautiful clouds, a pretty moon, easy moon. You'll see how easy that is to get, with some really pretty reflections, wave reflections, and a little bit of green touch in the front. You're going to love doing this one. It's not going to take very long. So hope you can follow me, pause and paint. So let's get started. So here are the oil paints I used. Liquid clear, liquid white, titanium white, black, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, violet, green light by Artist Loft, and red. And I did prep my canvas first with liquid clear all over and wiped it off with a shop towel. So now I'm adding a dark blue. It's phthalo blue, a little bit of Prussian with black. And I'm doing little X strokes on the top. Just little X strokes. So I want it really dark on those corners. I'm leaving an area on the left side, a little bit halfway up. That's where the moon is going to go, so I don't want to put the dark blue right there. And so now I'm just creating a horizon line. It's just above the halfway mark on the canvas. I'm using a 16 by 20. I'm just going back and forth just to get that horizon line so I know exactly where it is. Now I loaded a fan brush with some white and I'm creating some clouds, just little circular motions with the corner of the brush. And then with a dry brush, going underneath those clouds just to blend, leaving the top part by itself because I want to have some real light tops on the clouds. I'm taking some more white. I always tap my brush so I make sure I don't have any blue on there, and just doing the top parts again. Top part of the clouds, kind of pushing up as I go. And you can flip your brush on the dry side. You can use that to blend the bottom part. Now after going across, I'm just adding some more cloud to the bottom part, just to the top of those that dark paint line there. And touching a little bit with the blues, going across. It's a matter of a dark blue, really dark, then a medium, and then there's the light blue. The light blue will come just by putting a little white on your brush and catching parts of the blue on the canvas. So I've got a real soft brush that I'm using to blend. It's more of a sable fan brush, and that really is nice to blend with. It's very soft. Just doing circular motions, leaving some of those dark areas on the clouds also, in the bottom. I'm working my way toward the moon, but until then I'm going to just soften the areas and create the clouds like I think they should look, because it's kind of a nighttime sky. So now I'm adding white to the center and just going outward just a little bit, and then make sure you wipe your brush off every time, because you don't want, and also take a shop towel, just lay it over the top and gently take off that excess oil. And then I'm going to continue on with the dark there, just trying to create a circle. And you can do that with your finger too. Put a little white on your finger and just go in a circle. But you've got to blend those edges out. Here I'm trying, still shaping the moon with a light blue. I don't want a real big moon this time. I just want a medium size. I don't want it to overpower the overall look. So I am gradually making it a little bit smaller. Adding a little white and circular motions outward. Just touching into that dark. Trying to create like a glow, really light glow around that. And it takes a little patience, but it'll get there. Just adding more white. And you can take a little bit of shop towel and just wipe the center. Use your finger, soften, works too. So I want it really light there. And after you're happy with the shape, you can start adding some clouds. Maybe inside, maybe just on the outside. We'll see what I do here. I'm taking a little medium blue, and that's titanium, or not titanium, a phthalo blue. It's not real dark. But then I do add some dark on the, following through on the back side there. I want some variation of light and dark, light and dark. That's what makes your moon really pop. So I want it rather dark on the top side. Really dark. So I'm going back over there with a little of that original dark, a little Prussian and a little bit of titanium and white. Now I can shape my moon a little better there. Adding some dark clouds. And the one, I believe I've got one that's coming into the moon a little bit. Like the clouds are traveling. And I'm going to start adding some white tips to my clouds to make them really stand out. And I use a little bit of the liquid white. I'll mix that in with a little bit of titanium. And brush those little strokes into the top parts of those clouds to make them really stand out. I'm just using the corner of a little fan brush just to put some of those highlights in there. The whiter you can get them, the better, because that moon is bright. Making sure that no two lines are exactly the same. And I'm just going to work it around, touching the tips of those clouds. And I always clean off my brush every time. Just patting it down on a paper towel so I make sure I don't put any extra blues in there. And you can always get up, stand back, squint, just take a good look at the overall, and if you have any lines that are too much the same, then break it up a little bit. Just here and there, however you want. Well, I did turn the light down on this little section just so that I could see better. For some reason the glare of my overlight is just a little too much, so I want to be able to see just a little better. I'm creating the bottom line there, adding more dark. The bottom of the, where the horizon starts, I guess. It's just making that really, really dark. And I've got two fan brushes going at the same time here. But that's okay. Now I'm taking some of the dark blue and I'm just brushing it below the horizon line. I'm leaving a little white line there. And just brushing with a clean dry brush, blending that in, but you don't want to destroy that back line. You want to leave some of that light. So now I'm taking some of that dark, I'm going to bring it down on the right side, kind of angling underneath the moon. I want it to kind of, the light is going to spread out gradually. So I want to leave that light right underneath the moon. And I'm leaving some of the dark back in the distant waves, just tapping my brush to give it a little bit of movement there. So now I am adding some white underneath the moon there, right underneath that horizon line. Just creating some far away waves. Just staggering my white and then a blue. But I want that area really light because that's where the sun is, or the moon is gonna reflect. You can pull some of that blue over just a little bit. Same with the other side. And you can play with that in the center there. You can keep adding white. If you've got a little too much blue, just put a little white on there. Or take a shop towel and just take a little bit off. And I'm going to come down with that white. And it will pick up some blue, but that's alright. Because you're going to have some, it'll gradually turn into dark blue again and have sporadic light, dark, light, dark waves that are gonna introduce in there. Make sure you tap your brush. You don't want a lot of heavy blues right away. Just blend it into the sides. Keeping your brush pretty even, pretty straight, at least for now. See, I am tapping my brush, getting some excess paint off. Now I've got some really dark blues on a fan brush. I'm just tapping lightly across. Just tapping really light. I'm leaving some dark, it's dark, light, so I'm just a little space in there, leave some white in there. Just tap across. Because there's little wave movements going on. Tap some of that water in. So now I am on another fan brush, taking some of that dark blue color. I'm just making some sporadic dark areas in the front. That's going to be like the under painting for the water. Just want it sporadic, no special design or anything. It's just here and there, and after a bit I'm going to take a little blender and just gently go around those and bring it all together. I want some of the dark areas in there. Putting in some more wave motion in there. A few extra dark areas. Now I'm taking a dry fan brush and just gently, not destroying all the dark areas, kind of going around those and just blending inward. Just very light. Leave some light in there. Kind of going around them. And if you have too much paint, just tap your brush and just keep going. You want the bottom edge fairly dark. But leave a little light in there. I'm going to be adding some green light. It's a beautiful color that I've discovered. Adding a little bit of yellow to it. Right now I am putting some extra little wave actions just with the tips of that really soft brush, dipped it in some of that liquid white and titanium white just to tip some of those waves where the moon is reflecting. Okay, there I've added a little bit of green light mixed with a tad bit of yellow and a little bit of white, and I'm just putting some of that green down there. And then with my fan brush, I'm just putting some little wave lines in there. With the corner of my fan brush, I'm just kind of squiggling in little wave lines, just here and there, a little marbling effect. Taking a soft brush and just buffing, just very lightly blending the green color into the blue. Just brushing upward a little bit, just softening that up, blending them together. Little tiny circular motion, just very light. Just blending those in. Now I'm taking a little liner brush with some white on and just creating some little tiny little lines in there. And if you mess up, just take your finger and wipe it off. And blend those white areas out. Keep putting some in there, a little lighter in areas. Just however you imagine little waves coming in. Just scriggling little lines in there. Putting a few light lines where it's real dark. Put a little light in there, and that really makes it stand out. And you could dot some little rocks or whatever too if you wanted to in there. And you can go back and put a little light underneath some of those incoming waves just to give it some movement. And putting a little dark here and there too. If you think it's too dark in there, just add a little light. Stand back, take a look. I think I pretty much got a finished painting here. I've really enjoyed this one. I hope you have too. So until next time, God bless and happy painting.